video today is a trip that I'm going to do tomorrow. Talk a little bit about hammocks, because I think hammocks are a great way to do bikepacking if you're going to go out and stay outdoors wild. I've got a very light hammocking system which I'm going to show you, which is reasonably new to me. First time I'm going to use it. I've done loads of hammocking normally, wild camping, etc., but this setup is rather lightweight and I'm a little bit dubious about it. Tomorrow night when I'm out there, it's going to go down to about freezing or -1, so it's going to be cold. I'm going to be right on the edge in terms of the kit that I'm taking. A little bit nervous in that aspects, but yeah, we'll wait and see how it goes. Okay, out at last. It's turned out to be a reasonable day. It's a little bit nippy, 3 to 4 degrees centigrade. I've got a little bit of a tailwind and got some cloud cover. Tonight it's going to be around about freezing, no real wind, but I do have some rain showers occasionally coming in from about midnight. So I had to bite the bullet and bring the tarp out with me. But so that's added 500 grams to my all-up mass. But that's not too bad. I'm not too fussed by that. The tarps that I've got, so I've got a range of sort of 6 different tarps, different sizes, small ones for hiking, for bivvies, and bigger ones for a few people. But my 2 hammock tarps, dedicated hammock tarps, are the Superfly, which is a nylon based one, which can, if it rains, it's very big, it's a fantastic bit of kit, and it's very strong, which is great in high winds. But if it rains, then it can absorb water, and so it can be quite heavy. Polyester tarp is probably the better one to get for bikepacking. Polyester is less susceptible to absorbing rain, far less susceptible, but it's not as strong, so not as good in high winds. But it just feels lighter, and so if it does get soaking wet in the middle of the night, at least you know that you're not going to be carrying around a load of water that's absorbed into there. But anyway, by the by, so I've had to bring that along. Yeah, so about 10 miles in now. It's about 35 miles in total, so it's not a big ride. But like I say, I'm not particularly bike fit at the moment, so I'm going to start getting back into it at a gentle pace. Bike is well, she is all set ready. So it's the Mason Boca TI. I've got the mud guards on here. These are fantastic mud guards. Blue Mel, I think they are. But they've been awesome. There's no rattling. They just go on really solidly. Yeah, great bit of kit. My packing was appalling. I literally just chucked things in without any real thought. So sleeping bag and my under quilt for the hammock is in here, electronics and a few things like that, and headlamp, head torch in there, camera into there. In here I've got all my clothing. Really, you should have all your heavy stuff in here, so I really haven't thought about it. And then hammocks down in here, my little cook kettle thing, and some food and so on in the back. And then I do have my rucksack on here, just with a couple of beers and my warm top, just so they're easy to get hold of, really. And like I've said in other videos, I've got no issues with a rucksack, providing it's lightweight and it's got only small amounts of lightweight stuff in there. I just find them really flexible in what you can do. My underquilt, I've had to bring the small one because it fitted in there really nicely. There's a bit of a problem with that because it's temperature down at freezing. That underquilt was only really good down to about +3 or +4 degrees centigrade, so I'm a little bit worried, but there's no real wind, so as long as I tuck it up nicely. I've got the foil blanket as well, which I will almost certainly chuck in there, just to give me a few extra degrees, but that's my worry. And the sleeping bag will be fine because that's good down to about -3, -4. I've got some warm clothing, but the trouble with cycling in the winter is you don't want to wear too much. You always want to get out and start cycling a little bit cold so that you warm up into it. I've dressed a little bit warmer with this, so I'm starting to sweat a little bit up the last climb, and then of course you get cold, particularly from the sweat, so I'm a little bit nervous because my last climb up onto the Mendips, just before I get to the forest, I'm going to sweat on that. behind, well not way behind the curve, but 5 miles from Wells, but I got about 11 miles to where I'm going to camp with a long climb. It's 2:30, I wanted to get there at 3:30, so it's not going to happen. Maybe 4, maybe 4:15, and sunset's at 4:30, so I kind of screwed up the timings a little bit, which means setting up in the dark potentially. Of course, you get there, you've got to find somewhere to sleep. That's going to be another half hour. Here we go, Old Bristol Road. This is where you love 11:34 if you've got a heavy bike. It's going to be nasty. Bottled it halfway up. I need a break. It's just nice to get off the bike. Right, it's 3:10. I've got 20 minutes to get there if I want to get my timings right. And I've got only about 3.5 miles, but I've just got this climb. Give myself a couple of minutes walk and then I'll get back on. So I'm not too bad on time, just bad on fitness. It's been harder than I thought, even with a bit of walking. Not far. Yeah. 2 miles, I can see the forest now. Yeah, about half hour late. 20 minutes. I'm not going to mess around when I get there. I'm just going to find somewhere and sort myself out. Tracks might be a good idea. I think I'm pushing a little bit more for 10 minutes and then I'll scoot on in, start setting up. But it's very nice, but it's very busy as well at the moment. But I think as soon as it's dark, they'll all be gone very quickly. I think we're about here now, somewhere around here. Oh. If you're trying to be sneaky and find somewhere discreet, as the sun's going down, try not to leave your back light flashing away. There's no way I would have been. Someone over there, great. When I do my timings, I need to account for all the faffing that I do, because all I've done is go from one spot to another, saying, oh, it looks a bit better over there and a little bit better further on. I have no idea where I am in this forest now. Completely dug in. Right, that'll do. It's not great, but I got a little bit of sunlight here, so it'll stay lighter a little bit longer. I've got one dead pine there, which is a bit of a monster, but there's no wind tonight. Okay, don't walk too far away from your bike. Lost it. I know it's near here somewhere. Oh, bugger. Right, these are the straps. Where's the end of them? Yeah, so these are the straps. I don't know if you've ever heard of a whoopee sling, but that's this bit here. So you can adjust its length a little bit. These are straps for going around the tree. So they're only 1-inch straps, but they're really strong. I hope so. Yeah, 1-inch straps are fine out somewhere like this, but if it's if someone's personal tree in their house or in a garden or something like that, then I would always use 2-inch straps with a bit of padding, but these are fine out here on these old things. These are getting really cold now, but I think that's okay. Get a sleeping bag in now, because and the underquilt. Right, I think this is it's quite reasonable. It was a little bit more fiddly than my other hammock, maybe because the first time I've used it, but yeah. Okay, there you go. So there's my under blanket, which ain't gonna do the job tonight. Space blanket, hammock, sleeping bag, get that fluffing up. Right, pillow, and I don't know what to do about the rain. Is it going to rain? I'm going to lose light later. I do have a filming light, but I'm just going to let it go for a little bit longer before I start using that, because I think people are still around and my lips are now starting to go numb. I'm finding it odd to talk. Right, I'll sort myself out. See you in a sec. In fact, how much have I used there? That'll be enough. Ball that up. Right, so like this. There we go. Now with these, you've got to wait until the flame starts coming out of the little holes here. That's when it's primed and ready. There's my little kettle. Loving that kettle. So that's hopefully going to prime soon. My fingers really are getting cold. Right, while that's going, now I can't put this on top. If I put that on top now, it's going to go out. So you've got to wait until the flames are coming out there, and then she'll be off. I can go and get a beer. There we go. I thought I saw someone coming. I thought I saw a light over there just now. Yeah, we're off. There we go. Oh, it's a little bit warm as well, giving us some good heat. Right, so that is only just keeping going, but that's doing all right. So overall, that was an all right ride up, really. Actually, really quite enjoyed it. Lesson learnt for me though was to set off, give myself time to look around. So a good hour. So I wanted to have about another hour on top of the time that I actually had in the end. I was thinking about getting a fire going, but I can't be bothered, to be quite honest. I'm just going to get my food in me, have a hot drink, and then get in a sack and watch a film or something like that. But it is really early at the moment still, so it will be an early night tonight, but I plan to get up early and get going. This is going all right. Yeah, I like this little kettle. The snag with the kettle is that because it's so much wider, it's actually harder to fit into those bags. So the bag that I ended up putting it into the saddlebag, it just fitted. But I think the 750mm stove thing, not stove, pot, 750mm, I think is just perfect for one person. That's all you need, and it's about the right sort of size. Make sure you can fit a 100g gas canister in there, and then that's the right diameter, and that'll go in your frame bag quite comfortably, or anywhere. This is a little bit more fiddly, but I do prefer it because it just means that when that water's boiled, anything left over I just leave in there, and I'll use that in the morning. It's not going to spill or anything like that. So there we go. That's all cooking away nicely, with a little bit of mashed potato in there as well. That worked quite nicely. I prefer my Trangier, I think, but it's a pretty light system. Still like it. Still good. Right, so that's about 15 minutes, I think, to get that down me. Then I'll probably get a cuppa on, a cup of coffee. Then I might be hitting the sack. Now then, here, these are great. There we go. Let's get these mixed up. I'll put these in my gloves to start with. They're fact, I'll go and just get him in my sleeping bag, I think. Oh man, that is great. Mashed potato and curry. Ha ha ha. Oh, very hot. A spooky old forest up here. Not spooky, not the spookiest I've been in, but it's pretty spooky. It's quite dead. Doesn't feel like there are any animals, no sort of signs of any animals, although I think I'm on a bit of a game trail in and out of here somewhere. Just going down there. But yeah. Overall, really glad I went on this this little trip. He said on a Saturday night on my own in the forest with only 2 beers. I think this just happens when you get older. How did I get to this? Eating a ball in a bag curry with mash stuffed in there, sitting on the wet ground. Flipping heck. But all in all, yeah, I'm really glad I came out and did a trip. I didn't know where to go and what to do. It was all a last minute chuck it together. Chris and I have tried a few trips, but we were going to do 1/2 nights. We've tried a couple of times, but things just haven't gone, dates just haven't worked out. Today I just thought, oh, screw it, I'm just going to get on my bike and go for a bike ride. And, well, not today, yesterday. And get on my bike, go for a bike ride and stay somewhere. Don't really care where, just chuck some stuff on. I wanted to try out that little hammock as well. I'm not convinced by it yet. We'll see how the night goes. It just looks a little bit too flimsy and lightweight for me. I think I'm going to freeze tonight. I'm going to be really honest. I think I'm going to get cold butt and cold shoulders. Should have known really, but we'll see. It's good to test your gear out. It's only going to be a little bit below, and I reckon that space blanket's going to do some good as well. It has gone quite quiet now. There's a dog barking down there, but I think that's probably just a farm. But I have seen a flashlight over there, and I have seen reflections on the trees from a light, and I don't know if that was my light, if it's reflecting off something else. It didn't seem to be from my light, so a little bit concerned, but I think I'm going to be alright tonight. A little bit worried about that hammock. It looks a little bit flimsy, not sure it looks. I wouldn't normally come out with gear like this down at these temperatures, but I'm just going to have to suffer it and see. I might be alright, you never know. But I've got a good scran in me. Right then, let's do a little tour. So, hammock is up now. That's the end of it. And then down one side, hammock's up, obviously, sorry, tarp up. Yeah, so it's nice and taut, ready. Squeeze inside. There we go. And we're all sorted. Got my pillow in as well. Yeah, I reckon we'll be alright. Okay, all in. Although, I'll be honest, it was a little bit emotional. Something slipped at the top end, but and I feel actually quite toasty. But I don't feel particularly secure in this hammock. It feels like I'm going to fall over the right hand side somehow, or my legs are going to drop out. But bottom in, it's yeah, quite warm actually underneath. Yeah, let's wait and see those temperature drops. But anyway, I'm going to watch a film for a little bit, get some shut-eye, a very early night, get up early and head down. So the plan is to race down the Cheddar Gorge, through Cheddar, and then we'll carry on to Sweets Cafe and hopefully have some breakfast, full breakfast there. Hopefully indoors this time, because they were only doing things outside, but yeah. And then home. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning. Cheerio. I've just been illuminated with a spotlight.
is it lit up the bottom end of the hammock. He must have been looking at the... Hang on. He must have been looking at the bike. I don't know if he's seen me, but I can see the spotlight, or I was able to see the spotlight right back in the forest. It's turned off now, but it's dead quiet. I can't hear anything except a bit of rain on the tarp. I'm not really sure what I should do now. I think I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Okay, good morning. That was the spookiest night's sleep night I've had. I did get a fair bit of sleep, which is gobsmacking how I got it. I'll explain the spooky bit in a second. The weather last night was pretty good. There was no wind, really quiet. Mist came in for a lot of it. There was about an hour and a half, 2 hours of rain, so I'm glad I put the tarp up. Temperature went down to +3, no big deal. The under blanket was at its limit. However, I think because I put that emergency blanket, that foil blanket, under there, as soon as I waft the air on the under blanket, I can feel cold on my butt, because that warm air is now being extracted. But anyway, I think this foil blanket thing, really did a good job. Also, those hand warmers, drop those hand warmers in a hammock, and due to gravity, they'll fall to the lowest point, your butt, and your butt is the thing that normally would get cold. So when I first got in, my butt was cold, but then all of a sudden I felt the 2 hand warmers down there, and it was toasty all night. So that's a great little trick for cold butt syndrome. Shoulders were fine, and the hammock was actually really comfy. It's a little bit narrow, over there. I found my feet dropped out, sort of tipped out a little bit, but no, it is absolutely fine. It's really good for an 11-foot hammock. This is a comfy sleep. I'm going to get up now because I've got the feeling that this is a popular place and people are going to come here walking their dogs. I think I'm off the main track. But I think someone knows I'm here. I will explain that in a second. Why was I so spooked? Well, it was spooky. Not happened to me like this before. Now, in the past, I have been asleep, woken up, thought something was happening, and I could have been sure that I could see people coming with torches and everything else, and but then I woke up and I think about it, I go, nah, that's nothing, and straight away I recognise what's happened. I've just had a bit of a weird dream, and I've gone back to sleep. Now, last night, obviously I did a bit of cooking in the dark, I had my big torch on there, my filming torch. I then got into my pit, into my bed, hammock, and I got my head down. I watched a bit of a film beforehand, and then got to sleep. I got into bed about 7:30. Then at about 10 o'clock, I must have kind of drifted off, and then I opened my eyes and I can see a torch. And a torch, I mean a really bright light, lighting up all of this area here. I kind of didn't believe it to start with, and I do the whole thing of, right, am I awake? Yeah, I'm definitely awake. And it went on for about 30 seconds. This light looking over here. Straight away I put my hand in my pocket, I grabbed my GoPro, thinking if this guy comes along, or whoever it is, I want to have this torch. I want to have some, to film something, if he's going to give me any trouble. Just so, anyway, for evidence, whatever, I don't know. So I grabbed that, I did turn it on, and then I looked down, and the back of the screen was actually pretty bright, but luckily it was down low on my sleeping bags, and I saw a torch. It didn't look like a single torch. It was 2 or 3 sort of torches in a line, if you know what I mean. But they were LEDs, I think, because they were really bright, a really bright white, and it was coming from up here. And then the light went off, and I lay there. My heart was giving me my max heart rate. I should have measured it. I lay there, and I stayed there for about an hour, just looking up here and trying to listen, because it was dead still, but I could hear nothing. I could see nothing, no little flickers of any light or anything. See and hear nothing. So someone was definitely there, 100%, with a torch, and they weren't doing a search around the woods. They were looking right at me. Were they walking a dog? There was no dog running around. I would have probably heard that. Were they too far away that, you know, that's why I couldn't hear them? Well, no, because I'm almost there at the path now. So they were here. There was no talking, so they were on their own. So why is someone on a Saturday night wandering around in the woods on their own? Other than me. While camping, mountain biking. I did think mountain bike, because it was really bright light. Maybe he just pointed it, but it was moving, it was searching. And yes, he could see me. Yeah, so I am actually quite obvious. The light would have been straight onto that tarp. Spooky as hell. Didn't walk it, but I suppose he could walk without making any noise. So that's maybe why I didn't hear them make any noise. And they probably just looked and then carried on. Yeah, so I think they could have walked. But you know, there are logs that are laying over the path. So how was he walking without a torch? It was pitch black to start with last night until the moon came out, which it hadn't by that point. Yeah, it's just odd, and it really got me spooked. So I lay there for about an hour looking and listening, and then I thought, well, I'll just try and lie back. So I just lay back and try to get some sleep. Couldn't, because I'm just thinking all the time, why were they looking directly at me? Had they been walking and searching and then saw me, then turned the torch off and then wandered away? Because they must have left with the torch off, because I was looking all around here for any sign of a torch. So they must have carried on walking with the torch off, which is a bit odd. What had focused them to look at me in the first place? Had it been, yeah, either they'd been watching me before when the lights have been on, when I've been cooking, etc., but then 2 or 3 hours later they come back and look at me. I doubt it. That's a bit odd. Scared the hell out of me. Anyway, I did end up getting back to sleep, but I was regularly waking myself up with more hallucinations, again thinking that people were coming. But again, they were hallucinations, but within seconds of waking up I just thought, nah, that was just hallucination. Yeah, I'm behind the curve again as usual already, because I'm gassing. So there we go. That's the spooky story from last night. Bit of chocolate porridge. Never had this before. No idea. Fill it to the line. All right. I can hear dogs coming in for walks, so I really better be a little bit quick, and I'm behind the curve if I want to go and have breakfast at Sweets. You know, I would pay a lot of money to find out what happened last night. Who it was, how that they started looking in that direction, what they saw. I would love to know that. It spooks me out a little bit. Awesome bit of kit. Sea to summit. Can't plug them enough. You look at how thin they are, and you can just see the down through them. And I do wonder how the hell they keep me warm. 'Cause I can see holes where the stitching is, but you know. How is it that small? When I took it out of the bag, it was that big. How is it possible? This is not possible. It's 10 times the size. Right, I'll show you how simple this system is for the hammock. So the straps, you can see I've just looped it round. You loop one end through the other, comes down. It then is already lark's headed onto what's called a whoopee sling. Look those up online, they're actually really easy to use. And then down here, this is where the strap ends. This is the hammock pit, and you can see you've got this little button, and yeah, you just attach that bit over the button to hold it, and that's it. Yeah, so the button goes in with the extra little bit of loop, and that's it. Amazing that holds my weight. Don't say anything. Okay, all set. Half an hour late because I'm filming. Again, I should have thought about it. You need to think about all these little things. More importantly, leave no trace, leave no stuff, and if you're a hammocker, leave no tree straps, which I have done in the past. But there we go, we're good to go. Off to Cheddar Gorge now, probably. Yeah, I think we'll go to Cheddar Gorge, down there and through. It is shorter going straight home through Wells, but I mean, I could get breakfast at Wells. Let's see where we go. Hi. Whoa, did you just see that? That was a fat bike in a road group.
It's the same. I thought 24.
Cheers, and hope you had a happy new year. Right, I'm going to talk about hammocks now. Now, I'm big into hammocking, have been for 3 or 4 years now, and really got into it. I go out wild camping, I would say either if not every week, then every other week, and it's hammocking, it's bivvying, it's all the things that I love playing with kit. And I often bike pack with too much of it. So hammocks, I'll go through all the hammocks that I've got, just show you them and just talk about what's suitable for bike packing and what isn't really. So the first one I've got is this one here. It is a big, heavy 1.5 kilograms. It's got carabiners and everything hanging off the thing. It's a what's called a war bonnet, a Blackbird XLC. It is a full-on winter hardcore, top of the range Mercedes of hammocks. This thing has got a winter cover built into it. You can have a winter cover, or you can have the fly netting. It is double skinned. It's just dog's bollocks, but it's 1.5 kilograms. There's no protection, there's no rain protection or anything like that with it. So if you want to take this 1.5 kilograms, what you've also got to take is this, which is the tarp that goes with it. This is a mini fly tarp. I've also got a super fly tarp, which is the big winter one. This is my kind of summer one, but yeah, that's a lot of kit. So this is 500 grams, that's 1.5 kilograms. This is not for bike packing. Right, option 2, which I think probably is for bike packing, is this thing here. It is not a DD Hammocks. It's in fact a Hennessy hammock. Hennessy do some really great hammocks, and what I love about Hennessy is that they are good quality, they are easy to set up, and they are simple for beginners. Now this one here, I'll talk about it in a second, but the different types they've got an ultralight version, which just be really careful because you can't be too heavy. You can use the ultralight version, it doesn't take much weight. I couldn't use it. Then they've got the Expedition set, which is cheaper, really nice system. Then they've got the Explorer, which this one here is, and then they've got the Jungle, which is a double layer one as well. What I really like about Hennessy hammocks is that you get the tarp built in already. So when you first get it, you just set it all up, and then you can wrap the whole thing up together, and it goes together really well. So importantly, in this one, you've got a tarp. And why I love these for bike packing is, while they are a little bit heavy, they're really simple to get up and get going, and you can string this thing up, and it's just a gem. You don't have to have the tarp out. I put the tarp in an extra little bit of meshed snake skin, and it's simple. But hammocks are actually really simple. If you do 2 or 3 hours worth of watching a couple of videos, you've got it. Go out and practice it in the garden or wherever you can, and you'll master it pretty quick. So this one here, now remember the last one was 1.5 kilograms without the tarp. This one is 1.5 kilograms, but that's including the tarp that's built in. And you can probably reduce that down to about 1.3 kilograms, because in here I've got some hardware, some hardware instead of tying a knot, and you don't have to use hardware for this. You can just use knots, something called the Hennessy knot. Learn it online. It's actually very simple if you want to cut the weight down a little bit. So you can get down to about 1.3 kilograms with the Hennessy hammock, but a fantastic way to start hammocking in my personal opinion. Okay, so that is the Hennessy hammock. The next one down I've got is this one here. TNH Outdoors. Basically, this is a knockoff of something called Eagle Nest Outdoors. It is a really simple, basic hammock. There is no bug net built into this. There's no tarp. There's nothing. This is a double. You can get this as a single, which will make it about 3/4 the size of this. I like the double because when it's windy, the whole thing just folds up over you, and you can just keep the wind out a little bit better. But I just went for a double. It takes a ton of weight, this thing, because it's a double, and it's probably my go-to if I just want to sling a hammock up. I don't care about a tarp. I don't care about bug meshing. It's going to be out in the winter. I just want to sleep out under the stars. This is the one I take just because it's so hardcore. Trouble is, these are the tree straps that come with it. Now these are this is called a what's it called, a chain something, I can't remember now, but it's basically a double layer, which is why they're so thick. It's a double layer, and you hook your carabiner into this. Really simple to put up. So if you're going to do hammocking, this is the easy way to do it. But this is, you got to have 2 of those. Bit of a pain in the arse really, bit heavy. I don't use it bike packing. I've used it, in fact I've used it once bike packing up on the Quantox, but not my go-to. Right, now into the 2 lightweight options I've got, and these 2 are brand new. The first of these is called Cocoon. That's the size of it. It is 500, in fact with the straps it is 540 grams, so it's pretty lightweight. And if you compare this to a tent, this and this is your tent. Well, not quite. You've also then got to add on your 500 grams with your tarp. So you got to go out and buy a tarp as well as your cocoon. So 500 and, was it 534 544, can't remember. 534 I think was these 2, but then you got another 500 for this.
if it's going to rain. But of course it doesn't always rain, and if I'm just going out for one night, I look at the weather forecast. So for tomorrow I'm not expecting rain. I don't need to take a tarp. I'm just not, there's no chance of any rain coming in, absolutely not forecast. Forecasts are pretty good now. I want to take that risk. Are there any bugs? No, it's winter. I'm not going to get any bugs. This is absolutely fine. Although this does have a bug net built in. So reasonably good system with a bug net. Now the snag with these Cocoon straps, they are seriously small and light. I mean, compared to any of my other straps, these are the smallest, lightest out there. The weight that they'll carry is not quite as big as the others. It's probably 3/4, if not 2/3 of that. But it'll hold my weight. I just don't want to be bouncing around on the thing. The biggest snag about these is they're not very long, so they don't go around big trees. So if you've got anything more than a 2 foot diameter or 1.5 to 2 foot diameter tree, these just ain't going to cut it. But other than that, if you've got a smaller tree, this is a great little system. And in fact, if you're going to start out in using hammocks, if you're going to go in bike packing, then I can't. And in fact, I don't know if I can recommend a Cocoon yet, because I think it looks like a great system, but I haven't tried it yet, so I can't really recommend it. But I've seen nothing other than good things about it, and it's a pretty small, compact system, but it ain't the smallest. Okay, the smallest system that I think is out there is what I've got here. That's the hammock. Now, this doesn't have a bug net, and obviously with all of these, you've got to add the tarp as well. Other than the Hennessy hammock, you've got to add the tarp, which is about 500 grams. But tomorrow, I'm not expecting any rain at all. I don't care about bugs in the winter, autumn, or really in the spring. So this is pretty much nothing. And then you get these straps. These straps are exactly the same weight as the last straps, as the Cocoon straps. But these Hummingbird straps are the plus version, which means they go around really big trees, and yet they're still only the same weight as those other straps. This is the Hummingbird ultralight something long, so it's an 11-foot hammock, and it's always good to go for the big long hammocks because it allows you to sleep more asymmetrically and therefore more flat and therefore more comfortably. So I always go for a 10.5 at least, if not an 11-foot hammock, which this is. Okay, weight wise, 335 grams. That's amazing. 335 grams. So the Hummingbird hammock, amazing. You got to add obviously the 500 grams for a tarp if you want to take that as well, and you don't have the bug net. But you know, if you're just going out in the summer, put these two together and you are absolutely sorted. So there you go. So these are what I'm going to take out with me this time. I'll show you what they're like. I may take the Cocoon out as well, just to set it up and see what it's like. I may not, I don't know yet. Yeah, if you're going to go out hammocking is a great way to do bike packing. It's a really comfortable way to sleep if you're older. The only snag with it is that you do need some warmth underneath. But it's no different than if you went in a tent. You would have to take a blow-up mat. Instead of a blow-up mat, I'm going to take an underquilt, but you could use a blow-up mat in the hammock to give you that warmth underneath. If the temperature is going to go below plus 20 degrees centigrade, then you really do need to have some sort of insulation underneath you. Trust me, I've been there on one of my videos, and I will never make that mistake again.